Thanks so much for joining us on a busy week in politics. Indiana now has a new governor and lieutenant governor, and we'll hear from them coming up after a busy week at the State House. But first, we start in Washington ahead of President Trump's inauguration, being moved inside the Capitol now because of the cold weather. The president-elect will be back in the Oval Office again Monday after a rally in Washington this weekend. Last week on Capitol Hill, multiple confirmation hearings for some of his key cabinet picks, while President Biden delivers a farewell address and makes a major announcement about the Middle East. Vinay Simlat has more from our Washington bureau.
Celebration in Gaza.
After 8 months of nonstop negotiation.
And from the Oval Office in President Joe Biden's farewell address. Fighting began with Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. Militants killed about 1,200 people and abducted around 250. Health authorities in Gaza say Israel's response killed more than 46,000. President-elect Donald Trump pushed for the return of hostages before he takes office.
I do believe President Trump had an impact on this deal.
Thank you.
Brooks, credit for this, Mr. President, you or Trump?
Is that a joke?
Before President Biden hands over the Oval, he warned of national security threats spawned by AI and the influence of the wealthy as tech billionaires align themselves with President-elect Trump.
An oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy.
After 50 years in public life as the youngest U.S. senator, the oldest U.S. president, surrounded by family, President Biden passed the torch.
Now it's your turn to stand guard. May you all be the keeper of the flame. May you keep the faith.
As he leaves office, polling shows more Americans disapprove of the job President Biden has done than approve of it. President Biden addressed that in his speech, saying he thinks Americans will feel the impacts of his presidency for decades to come. He also talked about what he calls his administration's accomplishments around the world, invoking NATO, Ukraine, and of course this recent ceasefire deal. In Washington, I'm Vinay Simlat. Back to you.
Vinay, thanks. Back here in Indiana, our state now has a new governor as of this week. And already Governor Mike Braun's administration has been busy making news here in recent days. Hannah Adamson was at the governor's inauguration on Monday.
A new day and a new administration has begun in Indiana as Governor Mike Braun and Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith have officially been sworn in.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Much like his predecessor's inaugural speech, Governor Mike Braun drew parallels between Indiana's pioneering forefathers and what he plans to do through his freedom and opportunity agenda. Like Indiana's early settlers facing a crossroads, Braun said Indiana had a choice to make: accept the status quo or pave a pathway to expand school choice, lower healthcare costs, and cap property taxes. Although it's an ambitious agenda, Senate Republicans have taken part of Braun's call to heart, turning his tax plan into their top priority bill this session.
In Indiana, we have a strong foundation built on the shoulders of the fearless, hardworking Hoosiers, small business owners, talented entrepreneurs, persevering leaders who laid the foundation upon which we will build.
Reporting in downtown Indianapolis at the Hilbert Circle Theater, I'm Hannah Adamson.
All right, Hannah, thank you. Meantime, this past week, Hannah also spoke one-on-one with Indiana's new lieutenant governor, who's been a controversial figure in Indiana politics, joining the Braun ticket after winning over delegates on the convention floor last year. Here's Hannah's conversation with Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith after he was sworn into office on Monday.
Humbled, honored, and looking forward to now we can get running, and our team's ready. We're excited. Governor Braun is ready and rolling, and so it's going to be an amazing season coming up.
Much of your speech focused around a message of unity. What prompted you to write the speech around that theme?
Well, I get the sense that America in general is starting to heal. I think there has been a shift somehow, some way, and I think people are starting to say we got to get back to seeing the person and not the politics. And listen, I'll tell you, first and foremost, like I'm very much bold in sharing what I believe, but we can all do that. We should all be able to do that and still do it in a respectful way, in a way that values the person. And listen, I love it when people disagree with me because, as the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. So the more we kind of debate and say, oh, here's what I think and here's what I think that's how we get to the right answer at the end.
Now, Governor Braun has put forth an ambitious
legislative agenda. And we know that Senate Republicans have taken that tax plan to heart. They've incorporated that into Senate Bill 1. There are other questions surrounding whether or not school choice can become universal anytime soon. What are your thoughts given this extremely tight budget session and getting all of those legislative priorities across the finish line?
Well, I think we're going to push to get all those legislative priorities across the finish line. Every session, there's always give and take. There's always things that, you're going to shoot for the stars and get the moon. I do think when it comes to universal school choice, I'm pretty sure from every legislator I've talked with, from Governor Braun's perspective, we are all expecting that to actually get across the finish line pretty quickly and pretty, I would say, firmly from the support that I've seen already. There's going to be other items that are going to be probably more of a battle, but I do think when it comes to universal school choice that it's good for parents, it's good for students, it's good for Indiana, it'll make schools better, and it's just fair.
Your inauguration comes 1 week before President-elect Donald Trump's, and I know one of his biggest talking points are mass deportations, and I know you in the past have said, President-elect Trump, whatever you need, we're going to give it to you. We know that Braun has said, let's see what the federal government does, and hopefully they pony up so that Indiana isn't bearing the brunt of that cost should these mass deportations take place. What would you say is the right course moving forward?
Yeah, I think both. First of all, we got to wait to see what the federal government says and does. But at the same time, with President Trump, he's been very bold. I think President Trump believes the same thing. I know Governor Braun believes this. If you're here legally, we welcome you. If you're not here legally, you shouldn't be here.
All right, we'll see what happens on that front. It's also something Attorney General Todd Rokita has been talking about as he was sworn in for a second term and as we await any potential executive orders on immigration from the new Trump administration. Meantime, this week at the State House, Governor Braun with several executive orders of his own, including an order prohibiting most state employees from working from home and a controversial executive order eliminating the state's DEI initiatives. Today, our Jenny Drasler has reaction to the governor's order.
It was shocking, but it was kind of expected.
That has a chilling effect. What message are we sending to Hoosiers?
The Hoosiers in my district, they value inclusion.
Democrats Wednesday not mincing words in their disappointment after newly elected Republican Governor Mike Braun signed a new executive order to eliminate DEI from state government. Braun's administration said it would replace diversity, equity, and inclusion with merit, excellence, and innovation, or MEI.
In my campaign, I've had such a breadth of support from the entire spectrum of Hoosiers that embrace that idea of freedom and opportunity. And we're directing agencies to examine policies and procedures to ensure compliance with recent Supreme Court ruling.
As part of the order, Braun has axed the Office of Chief Equity, Inclusion, and Opportunity. Braun's order cites a Supreme Court ruling that states eliminating racial discrimination means eliminating all of it. Braun's order says all executive branch state agencies can't utilize state funds, property, or resources to support DEI positions. It eliminates any person receiving training or preferential treatment because of one's race or ethnicity over another person. The order also prevents state agencies from mandating individuals disclose their pronoun preferences.
So when we're talking about needs like physicians, like nurses, so many different positions and positions that we don't have people to fill, this is going to make it less attractive for people to want to stay in Indiana, let alone come to Indiana.
And that was Jenny Drasler reporting. Jenny, thanks. This week, Governor Braun also rolled out his priorities for the upcoming budget talks, calling for more than $700 million in tax relief over the next 2 years and cutting $700 million in government spending. Meantime, a number of bills filed this week at the State House. A Republican lawmaker from Kokomo introduced a bill to legalize marijuana, but it's not a top priority for Republican leaders at the State House. The new governor saying he might consider legalization, but only for medicinal purposes. So what is on the agenda for Speaker Houston and House Republicans? They unveiled their top priorities this week, including the budget bill, reducing regulations on K-12 schools, and improving transparency in healthcare pricing. But then there was that unexpected and quite unlikely proposal from the House Speaker to literally redraw the state's boundary with Illinois. Once again, here's State House reporter Hannah Adamson with reaction from both sides and why some say it simply isn't realistic.
Indiana House Republicans have introduced a bill that would literally reshape the state, turning thousands of our Illinois neighbors into Hoosiers.
To all of our neighbors to the west, we hear your frustrations.
Indiana House Speaker Todd Huston says more than 30 Illinois counties have voted to secede from the Prairie State since 2020, many due to high taxes.
Instead of succeeding and creating a 51st state, they should just join us.
Speaker Huston's latest bill would create a commission to help those counties become part of the Hoosier State.
That is a process that follows a constitutional process for redrawing state boundaries.
The Illinois General Assembly would also need to pass a similar resolution. Speaker Huston says given the number of Illinois counties already pushing to leave,
we think there might be some interest in the Illinois legislature to do that.
how many of those counties do you think would, if that passes,
I don't know, we'd have to have those conversations, but man, wouldn't it be great?
That it could make us a laughing stock.
State Representative Ed Delaney says it's possible the bill will pass if it reaches the House floor, but warns that it distracts from larger issues such as high property taxes and low wages.
If we need more rural counties, how are we doing for the 60 or 70 rural counties we already have, where they're losing hospitals, where their schools are shrinking? So no, this is not a serious proposal.
The bill now makes its way to the House Government and Regulatory Reform Committee, where it will receive its first hearing next Tuesday. Reporting from the State House, I'm Hannah Adamson.
Hannah, thanks. The chairman for the Indiana Democrats pointed out any boundary changes to our states would require the approval of both state legislatures and the U.S. Congress. He said, quote, this legislative session should be about Hoosiers, not political games. We also spoke with a state senator from Illinois who says the proposal was nothing more than a trolling jab from Indiana lawmakers.
I think it's grade A trolling for sure. Give them props for a pretty humorous way to point out the obvious. I think it's a great point they're making, okay? My district abuts the state of Indiana. We have all kinds of problems because of the economic climate difference between the state of Indiana and the state of Illinois.
All right, we're going to talk with our panel about that coming up. Plus, we'll discuss Governor Braun's first week in office and then new polling numbers as President Biden leaves the White House and as President Trump returns to Washington. You'll hear what voters are saying straight ahead.